morning children, and welcome back to your second class of history. In the last class, I have made you understand about the introductory chapter, that is the first chapter of your history. And next thing what I told you is that your 9th standard history is going to be post-independence history, whereas your first chapter is an introductory chapter. In the last video, we have studied about the different sources of information, from where we collect information. We talked about written sources, we talked about oral sources, we talked about audio-visual sources, we talked about material sources. So children, in this video, we are going to move on with the written sources. We are going to study in detail about the written sources. So let's begin the class. Children, before I move on to the main topic of today, that is the written sources, I would like to tell you something about the word archives. There's a small blue box on your first page of your book, and in that blue box there's a word called as archives. Now what is this archives? See children, from wherever we get historical documents. For example, if we get some manuscripts, we get some gazettes that are printed by the former governments, or we get some letters of information, which is a historical source of information. So whatever historical documents that we collect, we have to preserve them somewhere, right, for further use, for further reference. So the place where we preserve all the historical documents, that place is called as archives. Very simple children. A place where all the historical documents are preserved is called as archives. And the main office in India, the biggest archive or the biggest place where the historical documents are preserved, that place is called as National Archive of India, and the main office of it is located at New Delhi. Very clear children? Alright, so now let's move on to today's main topic, that is the written sources. Coming to written sources children, I have already told you whatever is available to you in written form is called as written sources. Whatever information is available to you in written form. For example, your textbook of history is also a written source. You can consider it as a written source. Yeah. So in our syllabus or in our first chapter, we have only 2 examples of written sources given. First is newspapers, which is a very important source, and the second is postage stamps. Alright. So now let us move to newspapers. Now children, newspapers, everybody of you are well aware with newspaper. Every day your father sits, reads the newspaper. Every day you receive a newspaper at your home, right? Children, when no other source was available, see nowadays you have so many sources of information. I told you that whenever you want the answer to a particular question, you immediately take your mobile phone and you Google it, and you immediately get the answer. But in early days, when this internet was not there, when smartphones were not there, that time newspapers were very important source of information. And the very important thing about newspapers is that children, whatever information is given in the newspapers, see, information in the newspapers is given about the politics, whatever is going on in the country. For example, right now the Rajasthan government is in a deep political crisis. So if you receive a newspaper at home every day children, just go through the newspaper, at least one news you are going to find about the Rajasthan government's political crisis right now. Alright, because it is a burning issue of the nation today. So the newspaper tells you about politics, the newspaper tells you about other the sports, the different sports events that are held, the different medals that are received by different sportsmen of different countries. Then the newspapers give you information about arts. The newspapers give you information about the different social issues. For example, somewhere some farmer has done a very good kind of farming. He has come up with a very high yield in such a crisis situation. So his example will be given in the newspaper. Or for example, if in some place some kind of riot has taken place. Riot मतलब समझते हो, दंगे. अगर कोई प्लेस पे कोई दंगे हुए हैं या कोई क्राइम हुआ है, तो that also information you will find in the newspapers. If in somewhere some accident has taken place, so whatever is happening in the society and whatever is worth noticing, all that you find in the newspapers. Alright. Then next thing what you find in the newspapers is awards. awards. See children, different awards are given to different people from different fields. So the information of important awards also is given in the newspapers. So children, in the newspapers you will find all kind of information, like you will find the information from every field, whatever is important and whatever is worth noticing or worth knowing, you can say. So newspapers are a very authentic and very important source of information, and you can rely on that information. You can trust the information given in the newspapers. Second thing is that children, second very important you can say significance of the newspapers is that newspapers are affordable to everybody. See, every common man can afford a newspaper, whether he can afford an internet connection, whether he can afford a smartphone or not, whether he can afford a TV or not, he can afford a newspaper, that's for sure. Because newspapers come at a very cheap cost, at hardly 2 to 3 rupees per piece newspapers cost. So children, another important thing, that even a common man who is earning very little, he also can purchase a newspaper and he also can get access to all the information that is important. So second most important thing of newspaper is that they are affordable. Now coming to the third most important thing about newspapers is that they are available in different languages. Okay, you will not find newspapers only in English, right? You will find newspapers in Maharashtra, you will find newspapers in Marathi, in Hindi and in English. If you will go to Gujarat, there you will find newspapers in Gujarati language. Alright, so the newspapers are available in local languages. See, I have written here on the board, authentic information and written in vernacular. What do you mean by this word on the board, vernacular? Vernacular matlab regional. Vernacular here means regional languages. That is why every person, whether he knows Hindi, whether he knows English or not, still he can have access to news because the newspapers are available in many languages. Alright, then next and very important thing about newspapers is that children, you know about Indian freedom struggle, right? You know about the first war of independence, that is the revolt of 1857. You know about Mahatma Gandhi and his non-cooperation movement, his civil disobedience movement, Quit India movement. So whatever movement were launched by Gandhiji, you know very well that people came in overwhelming support to Gandhiji. People came in large numbers to support Gandhiji and to support the nationalist movements. But how did people come to know about these movements? Very important, newspapers. Okay. In those days, newspapers was a very important source of information to reach to every common people, to every common man. That is why you also know that many of the freedom fighters, or you can say national leaders, they have resorted to writing of newspapers. For example, we talk about different newspapers. For example, Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar has also written newspapers. Why? So that he could reach out to people. He could make his thoughts to reach to the people. People should come to know. People should get aware about what is going on in the country. Alright. So newspapers are a very important source. Especially I would like to call it a very important written source of information. Alright. So very simple children, very easy and very commonsensical information, whatever I have given you. Alright, now let us come to some more different types of like these, whatever here I have given arrows and I have written, these are also included in newspapers only according to your textbook. Alright, so newsletters, periodicals, magazines. Now, talking about newsletters. What are newsletters? See children, a particular organization whenever comes out with some information regarding the organization and when it publishes the information for the people, that is called as newsletters. Normally you will find newsletters of the political parties. Newsletters of the political parties are very common. Next is periodicals. Now what is periodicals? In the last video also I told you, the newsletter or the magazine or the journal which comes to your house after a particular period of time, that means maybe in once a week, once a month, all that kind of journals or magazines is called as periodicals. And magazines refers to all kinds of magazines, right from the magazines which are specially designed for ladies and to that of the career magazines. Alright, so all kind of magazines which are focused on different topics and are targeted for different people, everything is included in the magazines. So according to your textbook, children, newsletters, periodicals and magazines all are included under the heading of newspapers. Alright, so very clear till here? Let us move on. Let us move on to the next example of written source, that is the postage stamps. Now, have you ever been to a post office, children? I think once in your lifetime you have been to a post office. And if not, then at least you have seen a postage stamp. A postage stamp is it's a stamp which is pasted on the envelope. Whenever you post anything, any money order you post, or whenever you post any letter or any application form you post, so you have to attach or you have to paste a postage stamp on that envelope, and this postage stamp you have to purchase from the post office. Alright, so what are these postage stamps so important as a written source of information? Why are these postage stamps considered so important? See children, let us go step by step into the details of it. First things first is, the postage stamps are issued by the Postal Department, the Department of Indian Post of India. It issues the different postage stamps. The design of the postage stamp, the color of the postage stamp, the price of the postage stamp, everything is decided by the Postal Department of India. Then, next we will come to, it has variety of themes. Now, postage stamps, there are different pictures on the postage stamp, right? So, the picture may be about the national flower lotus, the national animal tiger, or maybe India Gate, maybe Taj Mahal, maybe Red Fort. Alright, so these postage stamps have a variety of themes. You will find flowers on it, you may find animals, you may find national leaders, you may find important monuments of your country. So variety of themes are there of the postage stamps. Then, why are they important as a historical source? Now, this is the main question, and the answer to it, we are going to move on to it now. Now see children, these postage stamps, they reveal a lot about changing situations. Now what does this mean? See, the postage stamp keep on changing. They change in color, like the printing of the postage stamp. It keeps on changing according to time. Right? Now, what is the example of it? Once I give you the example of it, you will understand it in a more proper way. See children, in 1950s, the postage stamps had a picture of Chacha Nehru, Jawaharlalji Nehru, first Prime Minister of India. It had the pictures of Mother Teresa, Lord Buddha, Tiger, Mahatma Gandhi, so and etc. etc. So these were the themes of the postage stamps during the period of 1950s. Why so? Why so? What does this reveal? This reveals that during the 1950s, Jawaharlal Nehru was an important political leader, and that is why his picture was there on the postage stamp. Then, Mother Teresa, a very famous world-known social worker working for a very noble cause. Lord Buddha, Tiger, I told you, national animal. Mahatma Gandhi, another very important leader of 1950s. So, these postage stamps portrayed the important events, important buildings, important people of that particular period. Then, when we move to the postage stamps of the 2000s, like when we came to the year 2000, that time the postage stamps had the picture of Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi. Why so? Because the important leaders of that particular period or that particular decade, you can say, were Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi and India Gate, another important modern historical monument of India. Alright, then when we come to 2010s, that time the postage stamps had the pictures of Abdul Kalam Azad, the President of India and the founder of ISRO. So, Abdul Kalam. Then, Care for Girl Child. Now, Care for Girl Child, children, you will see that today even you will see many advertisements on the TV which have this theme, that is care for girl child. Why so? Why care for girl child is so important in these times? Because you might have seen, children, that the female feticide, that killing of the girl child in the womb of the mother, had become a very you can say common practice in these recent times. That is why care for girl child becomes an important theme for the present situation. Alright, so in this way, as I told you about the changing themes of the postage stamps, at the same time we can come to know that this postage stamps, they tell us some things, they tell us a lot about the present situation or about the recent current events going on in the country, or current leaders that are the current leaders that are coming up in the country. So they tell us a lot about the present times. Alright, that is why postage stamps also become a very important written source of history. Very clear, children? So written sources we have studied today. In it we have studied newspapers and postage stamp. Alright, so now let us move on to our next topic, that is the Press Trust of India. Now, Press Trust, what it might be? Press means what? Printing press, right? Media, especially press, we refer to written sources. Alright, and Press Trust of India, children, it is an organization. It is an organization belonging to the Government of India. And it is the largest news agency in India. Largest news agency. It is a primary source of information about details about the all important events going on in the country. And it provides reports, it provides photographs, it provides important information to many different newspapers, children. I will tell you that Press Trust of India is working in collaboration with nearly 500 newspapers. Just imagine. That is this Press Trust of India, which is an authentic organization belonging to the government. It is providing trustworthy information to nearly 500 newspapers, which the newspapers are printing in their respective newspapers, and the information is reaching out to the people. So the Press Trust of India plays a very important role in making available information to the people of the country through the medium of newspapers. Alright. Since 1990s, children, the Press Trust of India has resorted to satellite broadcasting, and nowadays it has also come up with online service. Very clear? So Press Trust of India is nothing, it's an organization belonging to the Government of India. That is why whatever information it is providing, it is very trustworthy, it is very authentic. It is working in collaboration with 500 newspapers, providing information, I would like to say rather providing reliable information to different newspapers, and the newspapers will provide the information to the citizens of the country. Very clear? Very simple topic. There is no rocket science in it. Alright. Now children, on the second page of your chapter, you have two blue boxes. Two big blue boxes are there on the top of the page. The first blue box contains information about the Yearbook of India, India Yearbook. And the second blue box contains information about Jal Cooper. So, now we are going to move on to the information in the blue boxes. Yeah. So, talking about the first blue box. You might see these words in the blue box written in bold, India 2000. Now, what is this India 2000? See children, there is a department of the Government of India which is called as the Information and Broadcasting Department, Now, what is the duty of this department? This department collects the whole information throughout the year. Whatever are the important events happening in the field of politics, in the field of agriculture, in the field of trade, in the field of foreign policy, in the field of defense, in the field of education, in the field of health, and so on and so forth. So this Information and Broadcasting Department, children, it collects all the information, and at the end of the year, it publishes the whole information in one single book, which is called as Yearbook of India, And this book in the year 2000 was named as India 2000. Now, if the yearbook for this year is going to come, this year is 2020, And the yearbook for this year, this ongoing year is going to come, and the name of, what will be the name of the yearbook? Obviously the name of the yearbook will be India 2020. Understood? So this is a yearbook of India which is containing all the information about different fields throughout the year. Whatever happened, you will find in one single book. The name of the book is India and the year. In front of India, it is the year that is going on. For example, if it is a yearbook of this year, then the name will be India 2020. If it is a book of the year 2010, then the name will be India 2010, and so on. Now, this book is very authentic, children. It's very reliable. It's very trustworthy. Why? Because it is designed, or it is published by the government of India, and the government is responsible for providing authentic information to the people. Now, this book provides information about land, its people, education, about social issues, about defense, about science and technology, about health, about finance, and about many other important topics that are important for the people to know. Alright, so this the first blue box. Whatever information is there in the blue box, it is about the Yearbook of India, which is published by the government of India, by the, very particularly we will say, by the Information and Broadcasting Department of the government of India. Now coming to the second blue box. Second blue box talks about Jal Cooper. Now what is this Jal Cooper? Jal Cooper is the name of a person. Now who was that person and why is he so important? Jal Cooper was a person who was born in a Parsi family in Mumbai, children, and later on he became a world-known philatelist. Now what is philatelist? A person who is having knowledge about postage stamps is called as philatelist. Now Jal Cooper was a person who had attained a lot of knowledge in the field of postage stamps, in the designing of postage stamps, in the themes of the postage stamps, and whatever is related to the postage stamp, everything was studied, whatever kind of knowledge was available was taken by Jal Cooper. And then he founded the first Philatelic Bureau of India. That is why the contribution of Jal Cooper to the field of postage stamps is considered very significant, children, and that is why there is also postage stamp in the name of Jal Cooper. Matlab, there is a postage stamp on which you have the name of Jal Cooper and the photograph of Jal Cooper. Now why do you have this postage stamp? Because that person has contributed a lot to this field. So you need to have a postage stamp in his name. Very clear? So that is all about the Jal Cooper postage stamp. Alright, children, in this video, this was it, what we had to do in this video. In the next video, we are going to study about the material sources, oral sources and audiovisual sources. Alright then, children, let's move on to the revision questions. Kindly note down the revision questions of this video. First question, what are archives? First question, what are archives? Alright. Second question, where is the main office of National Archive of India located? I repeat, where is the main office of National Archive of India located? Third question, what information do we get through newspapers? Third question, what information do we get through newspapers? Once you go through your textbook, children, you will find the answers to all the questions that I am giving you. Next, what is the Press Trust of India? What is the Press Trust of India? Next, India 2000 is published by which department? India 2000 oblique समझ में आता है, a slash you put. After India 2000 you put a slash like this and write the Yearbook of India. India 2000 or the Yearbook of India is published by which department? Next question. Why are postage stamps considered an important historical source? Why are postage stamps considered an important historical source? Next question. Which department issues the postage stamps? Which department issues the postage stamps? Next question. When was the Jal Cooper postage stamp issued? When was the Jal Cooper postage stamp issued? You have to write the year, in which year it was issued. It is there in your textbook. The year is 1977. Alright. Yeah. Next. Who was Jal Cooper? Who was Jal Cooper? Next. Where was Jal Cooper born? Where was Jal Cooper born? And last question of this video lecture. Who was the founder of First Philatelic Bureau of India? Who was the founder of the First Philatelic Bureau of India? Alright children, meet you very soon in the next video lecture. Till then, take care, stay home, stay safe. Bye-bye.